August 8, 1942, Guadalcanal, Solomon Islands, knee-deep in a muddy jungle river with Japanese soldiers 50 yards away. We all froze in complete silence. 8 Marines, covered in leeches and mud, trying not to breathe too loud as an enemy patrol passed right by us. One sound, one movement, and we were dead. We'd been behind enemy lines for 3 days with no food, no water except what we could find in streams, and no idea if we'd ever make it back to American lines. This was supposed to be a simple reconnaissance mission. It turned into a nightmare. My name is Corporal Jake Wilson, and this is the story of how my squad survived being trapped behind Japanese lines on Guadalcanal. I was 22 years old from Texas, and I'd been a Marine for barely a year when they shipped us to the South Pacific. Guadalcanal was our first major offensive against the Japanese. We landed in August 1942 to capture an airfield the Japanese were building. Command told us it would be easy, that the Japanese garrison was small, and we'd have the island secured in days. They were wrong about everything. My squad leader was Sergeant Bill Murphy from Brooklyn, a tough Irish guy who'd been in the Marines since before Pearl Harbor. Our squad had 12 men, all of us young, all of us green, none of us ready for what Guadalcanal would be like. The jungle was hell itself, heat over 100 degrees every day, humidity so thick you felt like you were drowning, rain that came down like buckets, mud everywhere, and diseases, malaria, dysentery, jungle rot that made your skin fall off. 3 days after landing, Sergeant Murphy volunteered our squad for a recon patrol. Intelligence wanted to know Japanese positions in the jungle west of the airfield. We'd go in, observe, and report back. Simple, they said. Should take 6 hours, they said. We left at dawn, moving quietly through the jungle. The terrain was brutal, thick vegetation, steep hills, rivers, and streams everywhere. Visibility was maybe 20 feet. You could walk past an enemy soldier and never see him. The Japanese used that to their advantage. They were masters of camouflage and ambush. By noon, we were about 5 miles from our lines when we stumbled into a Japanese camp. We'd walked right into it before we realized what it was. Tents, supplies, maybe 200 Japanese soldiers. We froze, tried to back away quietly, but someone stepped on a branch. The crack sounded like a gunshot in the silent jungle. Japanese soldiers spotted us. Someone shouted in Japanese. Then all hell broke loose. We ran, bullets ripping through the jungle around us. I fired my rifle blindly behind me as we crashed through the vegetation. Private Tommy Rodriguez, running next to me, went down with a bullet in his leg. I grabbed him and pulled him along. We ran for maybe 20 minutes straight into the jungle, no idea where we were going, just trying to get away. When we finally stopped, gasping for breath, we took stock. Tommy was wounded but could walk with help. The rest of us were okay physically but completely lost. We had no idea which direction our lines were, and the Japanese were hunting us. Sergeant Murphy made a decision. We head east. The coast is east. We find the coast, we follow it north, we'll hit our lines eventually. Stay quiet, stay together, and for God's sake don't fire your weapons unless absolutely necessary. Sound carries in the jungle. For 3 days we moved through that jungle like ghosts. We traveled at night to avoid Japanese patrols. During the day we hid in the densest vegetation we could find and didn't move. We had no food. We drank from streams, knowing the water was probably contaminated but having no choice. We were eaten alive by mosquitoes. Leeches covered our legs. Tommy's wound got infected, started to smell. On the second night we heard Japanese soldiers nearby. We hid in a river, submerged up to our necks in muddy water, trying not to make a sound. The patrol passed within feet of us. One Japanese soldier actually looked right at me. I thought I was dead. But somehow he didn't see me in the darkness. They moved on. The jungle played tricks on your mind. You'd hear things that weren't there, see movement in shadows. The exhaustion, hunger, fear, it all combined to make you question reality. Some guys started talking to themselves. Murphy had to keep us focused, keep us moving. On the third day, we found a trail that we thought led toward our lines. We followed it carefully, expecting ambush at any moment. Just before dark, we heard American voices. We'd made it. We stumbled out of the jungle, 8 filthy, exhausted Marines, carrying our wounded, barely alive but alive. Command debriefed us on what we'd seen. The Japanese positions, their numbers, their movements. Our 3-day nightmare behind enemy lines had given intelligence valuable information. Murphy was recommended for a medal, but all we wanted was food, clean water, and sleep. I stayed on Guadalcanal for 4 more months. We fought the Japanese for every yard of that island. Disease killed more men than bullets, but we won. We held that airfield, and it became the first step in pushing the Japanese back across the Pacific. Of my original squad, only 5 survived Guadalcanal. Tommy Rodriguez died from his infected wound. 3 others were killed in later battles. Murphy survived the war, went home to Brooklyn, and I heard he became a cop. I'm 104 years old now. Those 3 days behind enemy lines still haunt me. The fear, the silence, the certainty that we'd die in that jungle and no one would ever find our bodies. But we made it. We survived. And that's what Marines do.